Okay, this is some of the compost. My wife wanted it to make a compost tea, so we have a empty bin here, and I threw some of the compost from what I was showing you before down in there. And what she's going to do is just fill it up with water and stir it around and let the water do what it does, and that is dissolve. And that solution she's going to use on some indoor plants that she is going to be potting, and it's like a compost tea, and it's got a lot of nutrients in it that water will have, and she'll use it to water the new plantings inside. So this is right around the corner from where I was before. That's my chopping block for chickens, for wood, and that's where my compost was over there. And I'm just going to kind of take it over to where our garden is. Sorry for not making you sick. I'm trying not to make you sick. Some of you have pots and that sort of stuff. This is a fig tree, which actually produces figs. And the danger with pots is they dry out quite a bit. And so we really have to keep an eye on this guy. Looks like he needs to be pruned, but been pruning other things. So you really have to keep an eye on watering your pots. If you are going to be growing in pots or garden planters, they tend to dry out faster than something that's in the ground. The ground is always able to use capillary action to pull water up from underneath. So you got to pay attention to that, and if you don't, you can lose your plant pretty quickly. Okay, just going to walk across over to our garden area and sorry, the birds are making quite a bit of noise here. So we talked about placement of your garden, and this is obviously on the south side, actually facing southeast. So it gets good morning light right away and warms up pretty quickly. We have quite a few trees around here, so they will shade it during the afternoon, which can be a bonus, especially during the summer when it gets pretty hot and things tend to scorch in late afternoon. But again, it's going to be based on your property and where you can do it, right? So this is that compost. We have a wood path here in the middle, and it's a very clay soil. It's a very thick clay, so it holds a lot of nutrients and it holds water fairly well, but it can be also kind of a bit of impervious to water, so water can sit on the top. And we've tried to improve that drainage. I actually dug a big O. It's about 1.5 to 2 feet below this, just to help it drain out to the side here, which is a little bit lower. And that compost, year after year added, will improve the porosity, it'll improve the permeability of that soil, and it'll be easier to work. So this is from those 2 bins that I was showing you, and I've put on about 2 to 3 inches. You don't have to put that much on, but 2 inches is great. And you can see it's quite woody, right? Maybe a little more woody than I would have liked, simply because we were using a lot of yard waste in that compost. So you can see it breaks down over the year. This was started about a year ago, and I let it sit mostly over the winter, right? Decomposing, turned it a bunch of times in the summer and fall, and we end up having this 2 inches of homemade compost put on. And in the center we have a bit of a herb strawberry kind of thing going on there, and then on the other side as well. So when you're looking at successive planting, this isn't really. I made some mistakes on this garden last year, and so I wanted to change a few things. So I didn't have a lot growing in here over the winter. But what was growing was this stuff here, garlic, and that was planted from Mr. Ward's garlic farm. I got some cloves and just planted them in here in October. Beginning of November actually, and they pop up pretty quickly here in spring, and they'll be ready in July. Okay, so one of the other things you're going to have to consider is pests, and so I'll just show this part here, and then I'm going to stop it because YouTube only allows me to upload so much. I'll just zoom in here real quick here with my handy dandy arms. You can see a garlic clove sitting there. That was what was under the ground, but we have raccoons. And I guess they wanted some garlic on their rotting fish that they got from the trash or something like that. So they dug up some garlic when I first put it in the first few weeks, and we're missing about 4 or 5 garlic here because the coons felt like they should help themselves. So that's going to be another issue that you guys have to kind of consider, is what do I do about pests? And I'll stop it here for a moment.